Anybody here for the, so if you want to.
Why don't you guys come up? Why are you
Talk
coming?
to them first. I got an extra chain right here.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna do introduction.
Yeah.
Cindy.
Oh, yes, I'm Cindy Perkins.
Okay,
Cover for Nina Perkins.
John Hetfield.
Jason Bickford.
great. So you folks have
So we,
presented us with a couple of options
right,
as far as a reevaluation. And what we are wondering is what the options are and what the major differences are between the options. And I don't see that option sheet in my package.
Yeah, it is.
it is in there, isn't it?
Yes, it's back a ways.
Oh, okay.
It's behind the, yeah. No, it's right after,
All the conservation stuff.
no, it's before the conservation stuff and after all the
Okay, gotcha,
pages. of-
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a couple different options that you can take. The first one would be we would actually physically go to all of the sale properties and go around the outside of
Okay,
them.
define sale properties. What time period of sale?
Um,
Because,
Within the last 2 years, and they would be arm's length transactions.
So all the ones that sold.
Yes,
Okay.
and that would be land, condominiums, and single-family residence.
yes.
All right,
We would try to obtain an interior inspection to make sure that we can get the most information possible. If the owner's not there, we would send out a letter asking if we can schedule an interior inspection.
okay,
From that point, we would do the sales analysis, update your software, and hold final, we would do final field reviews, which is driving around looking at other properties after we've adjusted the values. And that's gonna be,
okay. Now, when you say final field reviews, is that on all properties in the value or just the sales properties?
that would, on the final field reviews,
Yeah.
that would be on all properties.
Okay,
And it would be from the outside. So it wouldn't be
Yeah.
a full measure, it would be just verifying the information that's on the card from the outside and reviewing the value, the new value
Okay.
that we've put on there. And then we would hold informal reviews for the taxpayers to come in if they have any questions.
okay, so that,
This is
That would be option one?
That's option one.
yeah,
All right.
we're not done with their option one yet. So those informal reviews, would that be considered part of the abatement process, or the word informal I have a question about?
So after we send out a letter that would say
Right.
this is your preliminary value, taxpayers have an opportunity to come in and ask questions.
Okay,
And that's not part of the abatement process, so that would be before your tax bills go out.
right.
And then after that, they may file an abatement.
Okay, so then nothing would change from the informal meeting?
If we found something that needed to be changed, absolutely.
Oh, so it would be or wouldn't be?
Would be.
Okay, okay,
Can I just ask a question on the timing?
sure.
So you would have the comprehensive field reviews done by when? I mean, in a time frame, as far as how much time before October?
It would be sometime during September. So
Okay.
if we set an October 15th deadline,
Yeah,
then we would be doing it probably mid-September. Then
okay.
we would submit the values to you to review, and then we would send the letters to the taxpayers.
So we wouldn't be finalizing the MS1 until October?
We could do an earlier date if you
Okay.
wanted to, but typically it's
Yeah,
October.
okay.
Well, one of the questions that I have is because of the nature of our property owners. Would this be possible to slide up and ahead so these informal conversations could be had in the summer when a lot of our property owners are here?
Well, that's kind of what I,
Yeah.
what I was getting at too, is being able, 95% of our property owners aren't here. So, if we could adjust it
Right,
to prior to Labor Day, I think it would be easier.
So John will be
Or
doing
even
most of
prior.
your revale work, so
And
I'll
I know
put
that
in his
really,
court.
that really compresses the
but no, it's good
the
to know
work
as a
that you're
baseline if
doing.
that's, what our
Or
expectations are.
even if we could do it before Columbus Day, say.
Well,
but
I'm thinking
before
more
Labor
towards
Day
Labor
is-
Day, because we have a
is
lot of
better.
we have a lot of snowbirds that
Yeah.
disappear.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is a pretty tight window because you can't do it before your first half tax bills, and you have to wait till after the first half tax bills go out, so it really, that's a tight window.
Why do you have to
Well,
wait?
why would we have to wait?
Because we can't make any changes to your tax base,
Oh, right, that's right. But we'll get those out in May.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you would have those we can push and get it in the first half of May.
And how many sales is it, 75?
Sales, you're gonna have a lot less than that this year.
Well, you only have
60,
You only
70
have
before.
60,
60 this year.
you only have 60 this year, and so you probably have maybe 70 last year, so you're only talking 130 sales over the 2 years.
And I know this year there were only 3 residentials, so the majority of them are condos.
And you
Right.
don't have many more residentials than
And a
that
lot of the
last year.
condos are very similar. Now, do you guys go into MLS
Yes.
to look, so you can make your condition adjustments based on what you see in MLS?
We do prefer to go in the
Oh,
actual
I know you
condo
prefer, but
units,
you can understand
if we can.
why one unit in the building sold for $245 and the other sold for $300.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So you get a lot of like properties too, so
Yeah.
the non-sales stuff is gonna be pretty standardized. Would that be doable?
I think it'd be doable. Do 'em.
If the tax bills got out
We-
in May, that would really be a big
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Well, that's when
John,
we
we
do
can
it,
start
that's
looking
when we
at
normally
They're
do it.
due
Okay.
Yeah.
June, beginning of
So
June.
now that raises a question, as you adjust values, when's the first point at which they take effect?
The
Next
second
December's
half bill.
second half tax
Second
bill?
half bill.
Would be based on the new assessed value.
Yeah,
Right.
and we can't by statute change the values for the first half bill.
Right.
We could ask DRA, but I don't see
No,
values
no, I'm
changing
just,
so
I was,
significantly.
all right. No, I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with that.
So, I think it's doable.
Okay, I just think we're providing a service to the people that live here. We're really trying to provide that service to them as opposed to giving them another obstacle towards, you
Right.
know.
And what we just did for the town of Lincoln, because many of them are outside, they don't live
Yeah.
in the town, we did many days of phone calls, so they were
Yeah.
able to call in if they weren't going to be here. And we
Okay.
can still offer that
Yeah.
for people that can't be
Right.
here.
I just want to provide the best possible
Yeah,
option
absolutely.
to all of the biggest group of people. Okay, so let's go to option number 2.
Well, just one question before we get with one. What is meant by perform comprehensive field reviews of all parcels in the town?
That's what we talked about, so once we review all the sales and change
Yeah.
the tables in the computer, we recalculate everything and then we do a drive around and look at every property basically from the outside.
From the
Just-
outside,
right,
just to make sure that,
sure.
and what are you looking for? That somebody added an addition and we don't know about it, or
That,
something?
just making sure that, the similar properties are pricing out similar, making sure something didn't get missed, something,
Fine.
And
Okay.
like you
Yeah.
said, it's
All right.
very easy for a deck to crop up that nobody knows about, so,
Right,
or addition.
Yeah.
right,
And-
okay.
And the informal hearings help us in the abatement process because we've adjusted values and we can go to BTLA and say, they had this opportunity, we had this discussion, we moved the value of the property, whatever. So I think that, that's a key part of this whole process.
And a lot of times it's information for the taxpayers, they don't really understand the process, maybe it's somebody that's new that's moved here from out of state and they don't understand how the whole process works, so it's good for them to be able to come in and ask questions, check their property record card, make sure it's accurate if we didn't get in. I mean, Jason's been doing this town for many years as far as, the field work, and he can't get into all of them, so, as much as he tries.
Especially the condos.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anyone else, questions on option 1?
No.
Now, what do we lose with option 2?
So with option 2, there's not gonna be any comprehensive field reviews.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
tough one to take out because it is
Right.
good to
Is-
look at.
Isn't that required?
It's not required, but I would recommend not doing
Yeah.
it, but
Okay,
you can
Yeah.
do it without it, but it's not
Okay.
probably the best option.
It saves your office a lot of time.
oh, no, I understand that, but I would think it would be required for, complete, reevaluation. All right, and of course, the all-important informal hearings go away.
Right.
So then if we get to the other one, field measure list of sales, so that means what you're gonna do is you're not gonna go out and look at the
Right.
sales, you're
And
just
this-
gonna take it from the books and
Right.
everything else, the callbacks, field review, and informal hearings.
That's definitely not one I would recommend. Some towns
Yeah.
do that, but you really gain a lot of valuable information by going out and looking
Right.
at the sales, if you can talk to the owners.
The last time we didn't do it because we were still pretty close to the full reval, so option 3 is what we did the
Right.
last time that we did this, so.
Now-
But we're getting further away from the full reval period.
Explain to me what you do if on single-family homes, you don't have enough sales to make a statistical, to compare sales price versus actual versus book and adjust.
And the DRA will go outside your town and look at other sales, and we can do the same, but there's really not much
We've
that's
done that.
comparable.
We've done that.
So what
here.
would you do?
You have to do the best you can with the information that you have.
All right.
You know, in theory, we can do a reval with one sale.
Oh, in theory, you can with just one sale.
I would hate to do it,
Me
but
too.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with an appraisal bill. When you don't have the data, you take the other data and adjust up and down,
yeah.
even outside of what's considered the norms. But that's the only thing you can do. You just defend it.
Yeah,
And
just
commercial
experience.
properties that don't sell, what do you do with those?
Well, most of the buildings are gonna be priced through a Marshall and Swift manual, which is a commercial cost estimator.
Okay,
Um,
so that's a kind of different
It's
process.
replacement cost.
Right,
Yeah.
and we do the best, if you don't have any sales for
Yeah.
land, it'll be challenging, but.
Yeah.
We don't have many.
There's
I assume there have been a couple of lots too.
Two.
But, they probably give you an idea whether
Yeah.
at least what those
Yeah.
people paid.
Yeah.
And, the informal hearings come in handy there too, because a commercial owner might come in and say, we just had an appraisal done, or this is something that you didn't know, or.
Great.
And we try to get as much information as we can, but it's not always good timing for taxpayers, or sometimes they brush you off at the beginning, and then when they get their value, they're like, something you should know.
Right, yeah. Suddenly, there's
Yes.
something you should know.
When it comes to the end, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Margaret?
No.
Phil?
No. Well, I guess I do have them. Back on option one, you say hold informal reviews. What's an informal review versus a formal?
Would a formal review be considered an abatement hearing?
Right, and the informal process is,
You
it's
just-
before values
If
are
somebody
set.
has a question, you're discussing it. Okay.
Right. And they haven't filed a formal abatement application or anything, it's, before your values are set and finalized, before your tax bill goes out, before your tax rate is set.
Okay?
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Greg, thank you very much for
Okay.
coming in and answering
Great.
our questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna continue to go through the budget process, and I'll let you know which options we
Okay.
select. It should be in the next few weeks.
Okay,
Okay?
if you have any other questions, just let
Yeah,
us know. You can
no, I
always call
appreciate
us
your
anytime.
taking the time coming up.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let's move on to the approval of the minutes from November 9th.
Yeah.
I didn't see any.
I saw nothing.
I
So
saw a couple of weird ones.
Oh, you did?
Okay, the harvest dinner was not at the Coyote Grill, it was at the school. Line 40 on page 1.
Oh, but Sean,
But Sean cooked the food.
right?
Okay,
Yeah, but it was provided by.
Was provided by.
okay, but not at the.
It wasn't.
Correct, I was just, and on line 47, cleaning dry hydrant line from Corcoran's Pond, what does that mean?
We blow it out.
Okay, is there a specific line there or something?
Yeah.
The white
There's a
thing
fire
that comes
hydrant.
out of the ground by the arena, right there by the turn,
Oh, okay, I didn't know what that was.
they force
Alright,
water
and-
back through it, clean it out.
And maybe it's just my reading comprehension, but, is my understanding that on the Conservation Commission, there needs to be a planning board member as ex officio, is that what we're saying?
There isn't a requirement, but you can have an ex officio
Officio.
member from the planning board.
From the planning
Okay.
board.
On the conservation.
And they've asked, they can't
They've
get
asked.
anybody.
Right.
All right,
They keep asking.
and then in our non-public session, we can talk about a motion made and second with a roll call vote, but we don't talk about what the motion was.
We
the
cannot make a
motion-
motion.
You can't make a motion
in
in
non-public.
non-public. That should
It was
be
the
that
motion
we,
to go into non-public.
yeah.
Okay, that,
Right,
okay.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
gotcha. All right, thank you. All set. Anybody else?
No, so I make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Financial update.
Okay, no, these are updated numbers
Yeah.
as of yesterday. We're doing Revenue-wise, we're doing very well. We'll have to wait and see on the water and sewer bills, and the trash bills, where we end up with the commercial properties, but we're tracking on all three of those items, and if they come in at or near the numbers, we'll make revenues. We're waiting for state revenues, which are meals and rooms taxes, to be paid back to us. I expect that payment by end of next week or beginning of the week of the 26th.
Okay.
So, water and wastewater, we
Yeah.
actually record what's paid.
No, we record what's billed.
What's
and then
billed.
we carry a due to us.
So
an-
even if
an
somebody doesn't
accounts
pay the
receivable
bill,
number. Even if they haven't
paid
paid
the
it,
bill, we're
it still
recording it
goes
as
in
revenue.
as a revenue, yes,
Okay.
because we
Yeah,
got
right,
the deed process and all that, so.
gotcha.
All right, I had two quick
Yeah.
ones. General overhead, we haven't spent any of the money.
No, we're in the
And-
process of doing that now. I'm making up lists with the department heads for their
Okay,
end
that's,
of
I
year.
got
That's the
you.
contingency number.
We'll get to
Because
contingency.
we also have, remember, you've authorized $30,000
In contingency for the
in
pump.
contingency for the pump.
Yep.
So we're
Right.
in the process of getting those bills.
No, I didn't have a problem with that. I was
Yeah.
just wondering. It's not a
Yeah.
problem, just a question.
Yep,
All right.
You will get those bills in this year.
they're
Right.
due to us probably in the next day or two. Jim's been in contact
Okay.
with the pump company. Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
just got the bill for the crane, which was about $2,000, so we're just waiting on some other
A crane?
numbers. There was a crane that needed to lift the pump in and out
Oh, I missed
of the
that.
building. Oh, it was a
Yeah,
huge,
they were
big,
there.
tall.
No one calls me
30
for any of the good stuff.
What did you wanna do, drive the
Oh,
crane?
sorry.
It's fun to watch.
Oh,
That's good stuff.
He took pictures. We've got pictures for you, Mike. Cool.
All
So,
right. Any other questions on financials?
No,
Okay, let's move on. All right, department heads. Brooke, would you like to go first?
Sure. We have our programs planned for the break. We'll be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 7 days, running from the 26th to the 1st. With different programs, we just have the regular stuff: bingo, ice cream social, dodgeball, a private kids night out, the New Year's Eve kids night out. We'll be closed at 12 p.m. on Christmas Eve day, and then we'll be closed on Christmas Day. It's
you
really-
closed on New Year's Day too?
No, we're
Okay.
open and quite busy on that day.
All right,
What are you doing special on that day?
On that day, just the regular stuff. The special stuff really happens in the afternoon and evening. So we're really offering the
Okay.
stuff everyone loves: the Todd Open Gym, the Open Gym, pickleball, climbing. Every
Yeah.
day we offer those things, including on New Year's Day.
and you expect that to be busy because it's Sunday,
I do expect.
and they'll be here till Monday.
Right.
Right.
Yes. We'll. Yeah. We are opening a touch later that morning, just because our staff will be there until late that evening. Children.
And when is your private kids night out? Is it?
That's on the Thursday, the 28th, and that's
Okay.
just kind of like a private, it's a new thing we've offered. Someone's having a big party and they want to put the kids somewhere, and so they're,
Yep.
they were able to have enough kids do it that made it, like a facility rental, so it's great.
Great.
And that's really all I have. We have a lot of adult fitness programs going. I just wanted to highlight, we, have kickboxing, yoga Pilates, cycling, yoga, Pilates. We have tons of stuff going on over there. So.
Yoga Lattes?
Yoga Pilates, Mike. I knew you were gonna comment.
I think you ought to go. You don't wanna miss this.
I might hurt myself.
We just wrapped up our introductory pickleball class also, and that was a huge success. We had 8 people enrolled in that, and some people that are continuing to play out of it, so that was good.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. How about public safety?
Status quo for this time of year, working with the new ski patrol, a few calls, over the weekend, but nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing major.
Heard a couple of broken bones.
Yep.
One of them was Jack Sanders. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
So,
and it was not skiing.
he wasn't skiing.
Walking in the courtyard there.
Oh, You mean he tripped?
I think so.
Or slipped.
Oh,
Yeah. So we're just getting through. We've been doing directed patrols
Bummer.
Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, in the afternoons, early evenings on Valley Road. And getting out there. I don't have any numbers or anything for you, but guys are being productive out there as far as
Good.
trying to get the traffic slowed down.
Excellent. All right, and the horses are starting again Christmas week. Do we planning on that?
I've heard that. I don't know,
Yes,
maybe April
they
has
are.
more.
Yeah, the 24th.
And are they staying out in the woods because there's snow this year?
what do you mean in the woods?
Didn't they say the path was going to be out through the woods, that they weren't going to be on the roads if we
Well,
had snow?
Yeah,
Right.
So there's enough snow right now that they can do the sleigh rides rather than the wheel.
but they gotta cross the road at some point.
Yeah, there's one road crossing,
Right,
well, two, out and back,
right.
but one road,
Out and back where?
Snow's Brook Road
village road.
or Village Road?
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Good. And staffing's good, everybody's happy, everybody's healthy pretty much?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we're still looking at, there's been a few applicants for some per diem work.
Yeah.
Looking at that, but, good.
All right, great. Jim, come on down, unless anyone's got anything else public.
Nope,
All right, let's talk, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff with Jim, if that's all right, Mark? All right, let's just go with Public Works review to start with.
Busy plowing down one vehicle. It's in for repairs. Got a little engine problem with the older plow truck. So we're down a truck,
Is that the wing truck?
yes,
One of
Yep.
them, yeah.
one of them. So hopefully we'll get that back next week and we'll be good to go. So engine problem, a rocker arm, and hopefully the camshaft wasn't damaged too badly, so.
all right,
One of
well,
those things that happens. Other than that, guys are pretty good. They're logging quite a few hours. We've got a lot of nuisance snow, as you're well aware of, so using up quite a bit of salt.
yeah, right. It keeps snowing
It
a
keeps
little bit
snowing
every night,
almost
right?
Every day,
Right.
so. Other than that, most everything's going pretty well.
Good. Well, let's talk about water for a few minutes.
Okay.
Now, as it stands, and we understand at pump 2, we've replaced the head on pump 2.
We replaced the entire motor.
Yeah,
The old
yeah.
the old 40-horse turbine, vertical turbine was replaced with a 25-horse submersible. There was some fabrication that needed to take place, and that was, some of it was prefabricated, which was really good, helped speed things along.
Right.
And we were able to extract the old pump from the well without a hitch, which was good, because I don't know how long it's been in there, but long enough for something to go wrong. So that went well, and the
And
whole-
Jim, while that was going on, we basically had that pump shut off the system and we were supplying water to the town out of the reservoir on the hill, right?
that is correct. Yeah. That was, all of it, the reservoir was monitored. We made sure that it was at overflow capacity before we started the work, so we knew we had a perfectly full tank.
Did we monitor how much we used,
Yes.
and how much did we use?
And I don't have that figure for you,
Oh,
but I can.
Was it a lot less than you thought we would use, or about what you thought?
It was right about what we figured we were gonna use. I'd have to get the numbers
Yeah.
off SCADA, but,
That tank holds how much, Jim?
the tank holds roughly, at overflow, it's right around 900,000. So we monitored it the whole entire time, and, we were able to, the only thing that kinda holds you up is that once the pump is in and you pump test it and make sure everything's running correctly, you can't turn that on. You have to go through a 24-hour period to get a clean bacteria
Right.
sample, and we got that. 2 separate labs confirmed that we were good to go. State gave us permission to run. At that point, the controller was not actually compatible with the pump, so we had to monitor it while we were running it, to make sure it didn't draw enough, too many amps. And, Robbie was, here doing that, and all we did was try to make up what was used in the tank, so we didn't overtax the pump.
Great.
So it went very well.
So as we stand now, we can meet any demand we have based on our reserve in the tank and the new pump's capabilities.
That's correct.
And we're getting water tests that are 100% bacteria-free
Yep.
out of the pumps that are operational.
Yes,
So we don't perceive any problem whatsoever of getting through our peak period with water use.
that's correct.
Great, excellent job.
Yep.
Good.
Good. All right, now, how's the building coming?
Can I just ask one
Yeah.
question though? I know Craig has not asked us, or has he? What's the status on the tubing hill?
Before we did the pump 2 replacement, I told him that we were down to one pump and we could not provide any water, both to he and to the cross-country skiing fan
Yeah.
that they put up last year. So there's no snowmaking water at all for either place.
And given the situation that's anticipated, that's not gonna change?
That's
or-
not gonna change.
I mean, I realize
because-
they probably, particularly the cross-country doesn't need it,
Right.
but I don't know about the tubing hill. I mean,
No, he's fine.
Right, it should be fine with the amount of snow that we've received.
He was
but-
open this weekend.
But,
well, I knew
but
that,
he knows
but
that,
it,
he
I
knows
have
that
no
we
idea how
cannot-
fast that wears
that we
down.
cannot provide any snowmaking water to them right now.
Okay,
I'm sure we can revisit this
We can
after we get
revisit it if
through
something
Christmas.
were to happen, but right now with just one pump in service, we can't provide them with anything.
Okay.
and
And I think-
if he requested, Mark, what's the decision? Is that a selectman's? I mean, is that something you'd inform us of? You'd make the judgment on? Just walk me through if somebody did request that.
Going forward right now?
Yeah,
I just
so,
bring it-
yeah, I mean,
bring
it's
it into
Christmas
you
week
like that.
and something changed and whatever, and they want a little bit of water. Who's gonna make the judgment that it be okay or not okay?
Between Jim and I, we would
Right,
make it,
and then you'd
but right
inform
now,
us?
well, we just inform you.
Okay,
But right now, with well 3, the only way that it would change right now is if well 3 came back into service. And we would tell you how
Right,
that
okay.
happens, but that wouldn't happen before Christmas week, for sure.
all right,
And-
Because we've stopped testing well 3
right,
because we can't get a clean
right.
sample out of it
Yeah, we're
Right.
just,
right.
at this point.
it's not gonna change right now.
Right.
And one other thing I wanted to get on the record. So we have plenty of water for our peak week
Yes.
between the reservoir and because we have this wonderful pump 2 now
Mhm.
working. But technically, we are not in compliance with the state.
This-
Becau-
that's correct.
Because if well 2 went down,
Mhm.
we would not be able to pump, how much do we need to pump a day?
Well, we need at least the 200 gallons a minute capacity
Okay,
to meet our peak demand,
right,
peak period demand.
Right.
How many gallons,
And-
well, two
Two-
pump?
The pump is set for right around 280 gallons a minute right now.
So we
And that
have
will-
more than our
Right.
peak
I
demand.
think we're out of compliance because we don't have the backup.
We don't have a
We
backup.
don't have a
That's right,
backup.
that's
Yes.
correct.
Which
Number
hopefully-
one, and number
the
two,
regulation-
we'll
Right.
be a little out of compliance, but we got a waiver.
We got a waiver
Right.
because of the
Because
number
of-
of hours that we're gonna have to
Right,
pump
the
well
amount of
to
water
keep
out of that
up.
one well.
Yeah,
But they're okay with, DES is okay with that while we're
Okay.
working on well 4.
right,
Right.
and we are on time and on plan to get well 4 online in March.
That's correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
Well, maybe
February.
even earlier.
Target is the end of February,
Right.
so.
Right.
Things
And
are
how is
going
that,
well.
I see here, the new building, how is that coming on well 4?
New building's going very well. In fact, the co-op installed a new transformer just the other day, on Tuesday. There is power, the meter is in, there is power to the building. It's just hasn't been brought into the building as of yet. We're still working on temporary power.
Pretty much-
Most of the pieces and parts that are needed to put the piping and everything together down in the pump room is here.
And all the work
on-site.
that remains is basically inside that building now.
Correct, except for, general cleanup and.
Yeah, right.
One or
But they
two-
don't have to pull any cables or,
All the cables, everything,
Alright.
all power,
Conduit, everything.
conduit, everything that needs to go underground, as far as electrical and fiber optic is in, and gas is in. The heaters are there, they'll be hooked up, soon. I'm not sure what his schedule is right at this point in time, but, everything is, basically, it's open for the electricians. They've got a ton of work to do on that.
Great.
And just to get it on the record too, so folks know, the connector trail ends now at the new building, and
Right.
we're gonna get the groomer to turn around and go back out and not
Right.
go by the old pump building,
right.
because there will be people moving back and forth. The contractor's trailer is in there and that sort of thing, so the connector will turn behind the building.
Good. All right, anything else on water?
Oh, and I'll let you know as soon as you can stop by anytime you wanna take a look, and as soon as the stairs are in, so we have,
Go up
other
and
than
down.
ladder access down below, I'll let you know, so,
Okay, great, and we're gonna do extra dumpsters and everything for Christmas week, we're going to.
yes.
And does that include maybe getting any dumpsters in any of the condo associations or not? I don't know if that was the plan or not.
We have a couple, they're just in rough shape right now.
Okay.
And if we can, we'll.
But is it easier for
We'll
us to
put
just
them
to
out.
take a couple, we can load, keep them here and just put them off to the side when they're full?
That's, yes.
Instead of doing that, okay, great, so we got a plan. All right, so that brings us to the end of our department heads.
Mm.
I think so.
And we will move on to calendar review.
Yep.
Calendar, what do you wanna know?
Anybody going anywhere?
No.
So the next meeting's the 28th?
28th?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll be gone the 21st and 22nd.
okay. And the 23rd is the employee
Right,
And where is that?
get together, right
Here.
here.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great.
Oh, and I wanted to mention the January, what I put in, January 12th? I keep forgetting the date. It's in my memo.
The planning board is January
The
12th?
planning, yeah, January 12th is the next planning board meeting, and that's important because they're gonna be going over the
Okay.
zoning ordinance changes,
Okay. All right,
so.
great. So at this time, I think we will open a public hearing for the change of use question for the North Star Inn,
Yeah.
or the South Star, Snow
South-
Star Inn.
Snowstorm.
No, Snowstar.
Uh,
Snowstar.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak on that? State your name and who you are.
Yes, my name is April Smith, and I'm representing WBRE. We're the management company for Snowstar Inn. And I just wanted to tell you that we don't anticipate changing the use of the premises. For the winter, it will be primarily employee housing, but come spring, summer, and fall, we'll be intending to put leisure guests and groups and such in there, so it will operate as an inn.
Great, thank you. Have all the abutters that needed to be notified of this been
Yes.
notified? And they've responded?
They, only
yep.
the letter that
Yep.
you received from the Inns of Waterville Valley is the only input.
Is that in our
we-
package for today? or is
April,
that-
can
I
you
didn't,
go
I
into-
didn't
Previous
make a
one.
copy of that.
The
I-
interior of the North Star Inn is what? Is it dormitory style housing? Is it individual rooms? What is the nature of the, I haven't been in the inn in so long.
Well, downstairs there are about 10 individual rooms.
Rooms, okay,
Yes, each has its own bathroom.
right,
And then on the third floor, there are 4 what we're calling loft rooms. So
Right.
it's just a living area downstairs and some beds upstairs. And then there's 4 condos. One of them is privately owned right now.
Do they all have their own kitchens? Refrigerator,
condos?
stove
The
top?
condos do.
There will be a common kitchen, for other people to use.
But it's, again, to be clarified, it's your intent to allow this, you're going to, during the off-seasons, allow guests to book rooms. In other words, it
Yeah,
won't be
well,
closed.
Really during any season, not
Okay.
just off-season, but this winter, we're really
Right.
focused on the employee aspect of it.
Okay.
But summer and.
Would that common kitchen area be closed, like in the spring, summer, and fall? You'd have them just rent rooms, or are you gonna allow them to use that common kitchen area?
We haven't discussed that
Okay.
yet.
Just wondering how
Yeah,
it was
that
gonna
could
be
change the
set up.
usage.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
would-
our definitions
I would be careful
are-
about,
Be careful of that,
Okay.
because the definitions of dormitory, right, that has a common
Okay.
eating
Yeah.
space, and I just don't wanna cross a line there.
Each of the rooms has a little mini fridge like you would
Okay.
see in a lot of
Yeah.
hotel rooms.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's likely that that common kitchen, would not be open
Good.
to
Okay.
the general public.
My only concern from reading the zoning
Yeah.
was whether they would fit in the classification of boarding house.
Right,
And from what I've heard described, it would not be what would consider, a boarding house. We don't have much of a definition, other than,
right,
it clearly says you can't have a boarding house, whatever that is. Yeah,
right. Well, the reason is the letter, and town council has just recommended you hold a public hearing and then make a decision so that we have something in writing that we can send to everybody. So,
okay,
but other
So
than
that's
the
the
one
purpose.
letter we received from the people
No,
who own the inn
nothing
next year,
else.
there's been no contact. They know about this meeting,
yes,
they've
Yeah.
chosen not to send somebody.
yeah.
that's the
Okay.
point I was getting at. All right, any other people would care to comment on this portion of the public hearing? I guess then we will close the public hearing to comments,
Mhm.
and is it up to us to vote?
So there were the two issues. Number one, is there a change of use? And number two, I guess, if there isn't a change of use, you've answered the second question, which is, if there is a change of use, is it an allowed use in
I don't see it
village
as a
commercial?
change in use.
Okay.
Based on what she's described,
And that tracks with what Tim's
I
put
mean,
in
if it
writing.
were, right,
Yeah.
if it were exclusively for the benefit of mountain employees only, and it was closed for that purpose and became a kind of a boarding house, then there'd be some question as to whether it's a change in use.
Okay.
But from what I've heard described, I don't see it as a change
Margaret,
in
how
use.
do you feel about a change in
Yeah, I
use?
don't think it's.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we vote to,
Your
Our
I would
determination
say that
is
we
there is
vote
no-
that what the proposed, it is an allowable use under the current zoning
Right.
for village commercial for what they're proposing to
Okay.
do.
Have you proposed that?
Yeah,
Then
I'll
is there a
make that.
second?
I've seconded.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, all set.
Good to go.
Thank you. Do you want to stay here for the timber tax abatement?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, she can, no,
Can I?
she's, no, it's very sensitive. There actually is nothing today on the timber tax.
Right, we have to table that.
We're gonna
Why?
just, well, because
mean-
when I called the state so that I would have some information to share with you, when I called them and we went over the calculation and everything of the tax, the state office has questions about, that they needed to talk to the logging company
Oh.
about the timber that was cut. So,
But this is tax that's due to the town?
yes, there is
It doesn't go to the state.
a tax goes to the state, and then there is a tax that comes to the town.
And we can only abate the town's portion of that tax. So we
That's
have no
correct.
authority to
That-
abate the
that's
the
correct.
state's portion, right?
That's correct. And you
Okay.
actually, there's some question, and that was what I was calling the state office about, was your authority to abate the tax, because the tax is set
Okay.
by state law. So I
Right.
don't know so they're answering these questions for us, and they
Okay.
couldn't answer them
Good.
today.
All right.
So,
Yeah, I think the
We'll just
critical
table
question is whether we have the authority to
Yeah.
Right.
abate it or not.
that's right.
And why is there this tax?
Why? Well, I don't,
I mean, a
it's
logging
been-
company came in
Yes.
and they cut timber.
Right.
They did.
To put
And
the
there is a
trails in.
sale, there is a sale value
To
to
the
the
timber.
lumber that they cut.
Okay,
And so that value is what we are taxing. So there is a sale value to some of that wood.
okay.
The
It's-
essentially what it is, it's similar to if a logging company goes up in the Kankamankas Highway. We
We
always
get-
get some
Right,
revenue
it's the
from
same,
them, all those
it's the
forms we
same
sign.
number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
know, but
yeah.
I was just, no.
Well, if you
I
cut
just
one
wanted
tree
to know what
down,
the basis was for the
yeah,
tax.
if you
yeah.
cut one tree down on Forest Service property, technically you gotta pay them for the tree.
I
It's
got
a-
We pay the Forest Service, but there is a
Right.
minimum, there's a minimum requirement of, I think it's 10,000 board feet or something that, like that
So you-
is a minimum.
I pay $5 a year to get my Christmas tree.
Yeah, well, no, and you're paying the Forest Service,
Right,
but I'm saying the state of New Hampshire,
I got you.
the timber tax kicks in after 10,000 board feet in a single cut. So
Yep.
this exceeded
All right.
that, and they're just getting the
All right,
information.
so we'll table this to the next
Table it,
meeting.
hopefully to the next meeting, they said
Okay.
they would have them.
Do you want to budget review?
Yeah, just, how do you want to approach the assessing question? And, do you wanna just wait until the next meeting, review where we are with expenditures again, and look at the budget one more time to finalize it?
Okay, but I think at this stage, I would make the case to go with the full plan, Plan A for $31,000. It makes
And it only,
sense.
to go with $31,000, if you remember, I put a $25,000 placeholder there. So you're increasing the bottom line
Right.
that we've discussed by $6,000.
I would
Yeah.
agree. I think as to whether we want to hold an informal public session, and we budget the money.
Yeah,
I'd like to see the results of what they get and then make a decision from there
okay.
as to whether, exactly what do we want to discuss with, I'm not trying to withhold
no.
Well, I
information,
think
but it could be so
yeah.
confusing.
But I think the
that-
informal hearings are not really for us.
No.
They're
No.
willing to meet with property
So-
owners
Right.
individually.
Yeah, and the informal hearing is really, you take the data record card for that property
Right.
and sit down with the new value and say, here's how we got to the new value. And then if there's data on there that's incorrect,
Or there's
or
or that someone thinks
there's
there's a
some-
problem with the
that's right.
methodology, they
They-
can
they
defend their
can defend it
methodology
right
instead
there.
of us defending it.
and then,
I understand,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
still
No,
reserve the right, I'd like to
Okay.
understand what they find
sure,
before we agree to do that. That's
okay.
all.
All right,
Okay.
I'll get to
So what's
that.
your concern, Bill?
My concern is there's so few single-family
Yeah.
home residences,
Yeah.
they're gonna get clobbered with people saying it is totally out of line that you're overtaxing single-family home residents.
Right,
And if that's what the data shows again,
right.
then we need to be prepared, I think, to
Right.
defend that.
Well,
I
they
mean,
need
because
to
they're gonna
talk
be, I
to
think,
you,
a
yes.
number of
Yeah.
people coming down.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
exactly where you're
I'm
getting
gonna
at.
complain about it.
No,
And-
understood.
And I'd
Yeah.
like to, just before
Understand
we
that
face
first.
into that
Right.
firestorm,
Sure,
condo owners, they're a minor.
Yeah.
At least there's data.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Okay, I understand.
all right, so you
Okay.
got that?
So we'll go with that, and then, so I'll report out on the 28th where we are
Yeah.
with expenditures, because that's the
Yeah, that
last
should be-
week
Mm-hmm.
of the year. And then we'll review all the numbers again and go over it one more time with department heads here and look at the budget summary again, one more time.
Have you finalized the CIP? Is that, what we reviewed yesterday is final?
No, it's gotta, that also will be
January.
January 12th with the planning board, and then you'll have that final.
But essentially, the decision on the CIP is the Board of Selectmen
No, the.
with the recommend, or do it,
the
is it
six-
both?
The 6-year period is the planning boards.
Right,
You have that one column,
Right.
this year's
But
column.
it's our decision for
That's
this
your
year. They
decision
can-
for the funding of the current year. But they have to give you a plan first. And
yeah,
then
but
you-
can we agree to add or delete items from the plan for the current year? That was my question.
You can decide whether or not to fund something, and if you wanna add something, then you certainly can go back to the planning board and say, we wanna add this, we wanna fund it.
Okay.
But the actual plan should be voted on
Well,
by
the planning board clearly needs to hear,
Yeah.
and let's hear some otherwise, the selectmen, that we need to reserve capital to
Mhm.
resolve this issue with well
Three.
number three.
Three.
That well has gotta come back online.
Yes, right. No, I understood.
All right,
We'll,
and
It
well,
might-
I will
It
add
might be
that
known as
back
well number
in.
5 in the future.
it may be.
Well, I will,
Yeah.
we will have a conversation with Terry and Cindy, who are
Okay.
the CIP subcommittee.
Right.
And we'll put that 50,000 into the plan that the planning board sees.
But they need to also hear that it could
Could
be
be-
Well, there'll be
an
a.
unknown number in
That's
future
right.
years.
That's
I
right,
mean-
and
I
we
mean,
will put a
you know,
placeholder there for them on
Right.
that too. Because the future years can be changed, would you like me to put in the number that we currently have for well 3, the $360,000, or?
No.
But
just
what does
as a
that
placeholder?
360 mean? It
That
doesn't-
360 is just
It's for the
connecting
connection.
pipes.
Yeah.
Right,
that-
No.
yeah.
okay.
I
Just
would
leave it-
not.
You're
just
gonna
leave
do
it
I
as a
would,
dollar
we
or
need a
something.
I agree
dollar
with you,
estimate
yes.
to repair well 3.
Okay.
To get well 3 functioning
Okay.
again, then we'll decide what to do with it.
All
You're
right.
gonna do the 50, and then didn't we also have a 25 to build up a capital reserve?
That's already in there,
That's in-
that's already in
Okay.
there, yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
50,000 is new money,
Mhm.
or new
Yeah.
to the plan.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's
Okay.
move on to the Conservation Commission meeting information. You sent a
So-
lot of stuff here, I don't know why.
Well,
So please enlighten me.
yeah,
Or us.
the information that I sent to you is just providing you with information on what the Conservation Commission must do and what they can do if they want to. There are provisions in there for the appointment and removal of members, that are also, is kind of, it's new information from my perspective, especially the removal, piece.
Okay, where would we
Um,
find that removal piece?
okay.
please?
36A, 36,
36.
I don't know what it is.
It looks like this,
Is that optional powers? That's 36A4.
Powers.
There's a thing called removal.
yes,
Okay.
Member of the Conservation Commission after a public hearing.
What number is that, please, Margaret?
36A,
Number
3.
3,
Yeah.
A3, yeah.
36A3. Let's see.
So no examples of cause are suggested, but an example may be repeated failure to attend Conservation Commission meetings.
So it's right here, Mike.
I got it, I was on the
Yeah.
wrong.
What,
one.
we're in
36A3.
36A what? 6, 5,
I was
4?
on the wrong one too, go to the first one.
Oh,
It's
Okay.
that one. It's before this.
4, 3, 2.
So it looks
No,
right
it's
here.
not in this one, keep on going.
Right here,
Oh,
right here, Bill.
I
No,
got
that-
you.
Yeah. Keep on going.
Oh, okay.
So on
I
There you go.
page,
Removal.
Page 2. Well, mine says 2.
I think it's actually 82.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the
Okay,
power to
so
remove members
You
for
do just
non-participation
have
in
to have
meetings.
a public hearing. You have to notify the person, If they request a
Sorry.
public hearing,
Right.
then you have to hold a public hearing. If they do not request a public hearing, you can just take the action at a meeting. So that was, you know, we've had questions about what you can and cannot do within the confines of the statute, so
Okay,
we're able to.
so we have two
Okay.
separate sections here. We have the first section that
The
talks
first
about-
section comes from this book, from the
Okay.
municipal association, which just tells,
Okay, and the second
and
section
the
comes
second
from-
section comes from the state statutes.
Okay,
And those are the statutes that control the Conservation Commission. And if you look at 36-A:3,
composition of the commission?
composition of the commission, about halfway down there, it just states what's in the NHMA book. It just says, any member of a commission so appointed may, after a public hearing, if requested, be removed for cause.
Okay,
So, that just confirms what. So I wasn't I was more expecting to just have this conversation at this meeting and then have you decide what you would like to do at a future meeting. You
But
can
there
think
is
about it.
no, in all of these documents, any statutory requirement in terms of how frequently they are to meet.
No, but if you go back to the NHMA
yeah,
paperwork, if you look at paragraph 1 of that, the powers and duties,
yeah,
Yeah.
basically they've taken that RSA 36A and they've distilled it down into lay terms for what the Conservation Commission shall be doing and what they may do. So, I guess the cause would be if you looked at these 6 things that the Conservation Commission shall do, and you don't feel
that they've done.
that they're doing them,
Yeah.
then there is a reason or a
Right.
cause.
Uh,
for it.
the appointment of chairman is up to the committee members to select someone to act as their chair, or
Yes, it
is
is.
recommended to the Board of Selectmen and we
No.
appoint the
You
chair?
just appoint the members, they
We
choose
appoint
their
the
own
members.
chair.
Well, I'm thinking that we ought to make some statement along the line. I don't think we need to make it just a recommendation that, at a minimum, they ought to meet once a year for the purpose at least of deciding who
Who's
amongst them
who's-
should be chairing
yeah.
the committee.
Yeah,
Right, no, and,
I
you
mean,
know, how are they gonna know?
I don't wanna notify, I don't wanna let them, I'm not saying they ought to meet every month. I mean, they ought to discuss that amongst themselves
Right,
and reach some consensus as to frequency of meeting, and who is gonna be chair of the organization. And my only thing would be to recommend they meet at least once a year for that purpose, to discuss and agree on those rules of how they're gonna govern themselves.
yeah, and I mean, for us around here, you would think that organizations, here you have unofficial bodies organized for similar purposes, you would think that they would be coordinating with the WVAIA on trail maintenance and land use.
Well,
Those sorts of things, it seems to be part of their duties
Right.
and
Well, it could be.
responsibilities. I mean, it's up to them to determine that, but, it could be something that they, how would they even know whether or not they should be doing it if they're not meeting?
yeah, no, agreed.
well, the basic powers of the commission really deal with the proper utilization and protection of natural resources and preservation of the watershed. Technically, they ought to be involved in the well.
They should be, absolutely,
Yeah.
they would be in any other town.
Yeah,
They really would be. And the protection, the wellhead protection areas, they should be
Yeah.
helping you guys by researching issues related to that and use of the land.
so,
I mean,
but,
that's all part of it, right? In any other town, the Conservation Commission is doing that.
the proper utilization and protection of the town's natural resources, to me, that's what I would want them to at least once a year say, we think it's being properly managed or not. You know,
Right.
some statement.
Add it.
But I mean, I wouldn't have I don't have any
And
requirement
they are
they meet.
required to file an annual report to be printed in the annual town report, right?
And they've been sort of, Sharon
Oh,
prompts
okay,
them.
so they would have to then also meet for the purpose of agreeing
At
as
least,
to what was
sure.
in the town report and,
Adam, that's another part of the minimum, yep.
right, okay. So,
I think the chairman should call the chairman, because I'm not
Okay.
getting, I'm not getting anywhere.
All right. I will.
Okay,
If
seriously,
that's what you
I-
guys like to
yeah,
do.
right,
I've
and
asked
just
to say,
saying,
right,
let's have a cup of
they
coffee and
you ought to
discuss
meet
this.
once a
Yeah.
year, at a minimum of
Yeah.
once or twice a year, for the purposes of A, deciding
Yeah.
governance.
Yeah.
And then B, the annual report eventually says there's a report on the state of
Right.
protection of natural resources. There needs to be agreement on the part of the whole commission. It can't just be the chairman writes a
And
letter.
we are struggling with a lot of water issues, that's a natural resource, they should be participating in this.
We'll
Do
do.
we also need to ask the chairman whether or not he needs us to take action?
Right,
To
With
remove-
respect to removing
Well,
people
yeah.
who are not attending the meetings when called?
right, yeah.
Okay.
What, before we have Mike call them, what would we want them to do relative to the water?
Well, I don't know because
Yeah.
we don't have anything to do, but we should make them aware of the
Well,
I mean, if they wanted to get involved, I mean, are we gonna encourage them to get involved?
well, I wouldn't throw that in there because I think we're opening a potential can of worms.
Yeah,
with-
that's
with
why I raised
that.
it.
But I think we should make them aware of, we have the issue with the water we're working on. But I wouldn't ask for any feedback because I think the feedback that we're gonna have to go on is DES in the state in this one. Yeah.
but
And
it
the-
might give you another group to help communicate the information that is coming out of the state. And another way to ask questions, to find out, kind of take the pulse of the community when it comes to these
Well, let
kinds
me
of
read, let me read the
issues.
scope first before I talk to
Sure.
them, because I don't want to, add anything that is not within the scope
Mhm.
of what they should be doing. And narrow down what the scope is.
The main issue we have right now is that meetings are not being held
Right.
because when meetings have been called
Nobody
in the
shows up.
past, nobody has showed up.
Right,
So we can remove and reappoint, and there has to be an annual meeting just to appoint a chairperson. All right,
yeah.
yeah, all right, good. All set with that one?
I am,
All right, so that brings us to correspondence.
nothing.
All right, privilege of the floor too. Reggie, you've been so,
Oh, yes, I finally have something to say. I was wondering what we are doing as a town for the celebration of the 50th anniversary.
funny you mention that. In our budget meetings, we have put together a line item to throw some money in there, and we are going to discuss having a big kind of social party sometime in the summer.
Okay, do you need a committee or a bunch of people?
We
to
are
work on
gonna
it?
need a
Or-
committee.
Yes, would you like to be in charge of that?
I'll be a worker bee.
Yeah. Well, we're just formulating it with the budget.
Okay, well, please call me.
But we're trying to figure out something that will be the most inclusive thing we can do possibly. So maybe like an old home day with something on the field, games, a barbecue, that kind of thing where, it's not gonna price anybody out of coming and the town is gonna put money together, so, to subsidize it.
Great. I
Right.
also, came up with the idea, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, about having a library.
Yes.
Library,
Yes.
something attached to the library, a museum type thing.
Right, and I'm waiting to talk to Bob Freeze to put him in touch with you, because he came up with this plan about 4 years ago.
Okay, good. A lot of people seemed
Yeah.
interested, and we have lots of artifacts and everything, from what I understand, so
Yep.
it would be a good thing for the town, and the 50th anniversary would be a great time to do it.
Or start the fundraiser for it.
Mhm. Thank you.
Great, well, thank you. All right, board concerns or directives?
I have none.
Okay.
No.
Well, I think we have to go into non-public, so is there a motion to go into non-public?
I will move to go into non-public.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Might need you
Goodbye, public.
to stay for this.
Well, thank all our
Non-public?
participants.